John Henson for sprint 8, part 2. The time is 7:54, day 6/6/2014. So the mushrooms are all contained in these mushroom folders right here. We have the points, the states, the mushroom state, and the sprite state, and the max health. So when it collides with the bullet, it has the sprite state go up, which changes the animation. So it'll go from the slightly damaged mushroom to the damaged, to the fully damaged, to the destroyed, and when the health equals 0, it marks for destroyed. Now, when I switch the state to make it poisoned, I first just say state equals true. That way, when I call it in my mushroom field, it'll say, hey, my state's, I'm a poison mushroom, have the centipede react the right way. And the sprite state will change to +4 because the health does not change when the mushroom becomes poisoned. So my mushroom field, I start with a for loop to create the grid of mushroom pointer objects, which they all equal 0 to start. And then I have this for loop right here that creates the actual mushrooms to populate this grid. And I have it at 10% right now. It's a nice even percentage to go through. And here's my heal field function. Goes through a for loop, just checks them all, and if there's a mushroom, it'll just tell it to heal. And if its health is less than max, it'll do the animation and heal itself and do the pop motion. Otherwise, I have the add mushroom code here. So this is used whenever I want to add a mushroom to the field. This code here, clear mushroom, is called whenever I want to clear a mushroom from the field. That way the grid equals 0 and there's no empty space. This is the look ahead function that the centipede uses to find where the next mushroom is. It's going to hit that way. It doesn't actually use colliders, but more efficient lookup function. That way a little bit more efficient than just checking for a collide every frame. It just checks for a lookup. And then the check state function right here, which checks to see if the mushroom is poisoned. If it's true, it'll return true. If not, it'll return false. And then the destroy function. So let's go to the centipede, since that interacts with the mushroom field the most. So we have my enemies, my centipede. So my centipede head and centipede segment have nearly the same code, except my segment just differs based on this one simple thing. My centipede head spawns the segments using the segment factory. In fact, all my critters have the factory, which is a singleton factories with recycling. So these are very efficient factories that are all used for creating all your bugs. So when you create the segment, it spawns the factory and creates this many mushrooms behind it. So I don't have a queue for my centipede head. Instead, I have it moving off a simple move position because during the development cycle, it got to a point where I had to decide, do I really want to keep focusing on the queue, or do I want to get caught up on other things? I decided to drop the queue, get caught up on other things. That way the project was ready to go for the final thing. So checks direction. This function right here, move, handles the entire movement of it. It handles checking the left side, right side, bottom, and top of the player zone. And this bool here, vertical, handles vertical movement. It's just based off if vertical movement's true, the move vertical times it by a negative number or a positive number to get it to move up or down. And here's the look ahead function to ensure that it checks to make sure everything's working. It doesn't hit a mushroom. That's what it's supposed to check. And then the new explosion marked for destroy, and then the add mushroom when it dies. Alright, and that'll end part 2.